I was just speaking to a friend of mine, actually chatting online, um, and talked about the death of her grandmother. And, um, I said, well, you all get to experience that or have that experience, speaking of deaths, you know, at one time or another. But then I got thinking about it after, I don't know why it made me think this way, but I, experience seems to be a human characteristic of a human body in this world, whatever that's called, the dimension or whatever. So there's a lot of sages of, I know in the Christian realm it's heaven or hell, that you go to from here, and we see that as we're carrying the body into this realm, where well, it's either all happiness and angels and nothing but good things going on. And then there's the ones who will be in eternal, suffering and pain and for ever and ever. It's hard for me to understand how people will believe that. But I'm kind of, I think we're mostly energy, and that energy is our life. It's what drives everything about us, about our, everything. We're energetic. Um, I don't even want to say beings. We are just basically energy that's now using this body as a means to experience life. And it just got me thinking, like, if experience is just the human characteristic, what's it going to be like? You know, once we drop the body and move on, energy doesn't get lost. It turns into something else. But once we drop the body and move on, what? And if there's no experience, I mean, think about that for a minute. What if there's no experience? Then what is there? And I can't help but feel I don't want to lose experience. I mean, I kind of enjoy life and the experiences that it brings, but I can't even imagine what it will be like to leave the body. And who knows? Nobody really knows if we carry our thoughts and our memories and things with us. And if we do, maybe they transition into something once we are in that energetic state. All the memories and things no longer hold the same emotional and psychological baggage, that suddenly everything just kind of becomes clear. What's that like? I mean, it's just hard to imagine, but it's a to me it's just wonderful. Um, I'm not looking forward to death, but my philosophy is, if I can hold that till my last breath, is that I want to experience it. I want to be fully aware and experience death. I don't want to be sedated or euthanized. I want to experience what that's like to the very end. And you know, who knows? That could be just the stupidest thing I've ever said. But um, at the same time, it's like I think once I leave this body, once the energetic expression of me, we'll call it spirit or call it whatever you want, but once that energetic expression leaves this body, it's just, to me, it just seems like we're going to just like almost dissolve into everything. And I mean everything. I don't mean just on earth or just in a spirit of things or whatever. I mean, everything that we can't see, everything that we don't know, everything. And I think in a moment we will. That's why I have a problem carrying the memory aspect, or you know, will we see our loved ones on the other side, or I don't think that's a human care, a human characteristic, a human emotional and way of how we've existed in this life. But once you leave this body, everything changes. Everything changes. What does that mean? I don't know. And that's the beauty of it. I like calling life. No, maybe not life. I like what I call living in the mystery. I just don't know. You know, I don't have to know, and I can't know. I could not comprehend the magnitude of what that would be like to just be back in the universe. It's just um, to be. Will I be sad to leave my body? I don't think so. I don't think so. Will I miss my kids? I think once this energy leaves the body, all of that is left behind. It's not a terrible thing. It's left behind because you'll move to a point to where whatever, if your spirit just goes out into all things, think about that. Think about what you have learned and what you have grown with. And I say learned and grow with, and I mean this strictly from the perspective of not education, degrees, accomplishments, nothing but about yourself and about life and how you learn to deal with your problems, deal with your shortcomings, see people differently, begin to love people. I think those things that once you leave here may very well be dispersed. You may just kind of pepper this reality with a different perspective. And that's why so many of the old masters, like I said, the sages, the ones who, said to look inside, look and see what's going on with you. That's what's important. That's how you can help the world. I think that's what it's about. I think the more that, I want to say the more that you've struggled, but that's not quite it. But if you've had a lot of struggles, yet you faced them and you dealt with them, that's the important part. It's not your failures, it's not your mistakes or anything like that. I kind of believe that there are no real mistakes in life, that you're guided into certain situations, all your situations of life, in order to teach you something that you're not seeing about you. And in that, I guess I have to kind of believe that there's a reason behind that, because the body is going to be left behind. Bernie, this body, mind, will be left behind. Now, the mind is part of I don't want to go into a lot of details and descriptions, but maybe the mind goes with us. Maybe it does, but it's going to be like walking into, if that's true, when we die and we leave, this energy leaves this body, and if our mind goes with it, it's going to be like everything else. We're just going to be blown away by how we see it at that point, because we're going to be open to the universe. All life will just be there, and we'll just kind of dissolve into it. My theory, absolutely my theory, or hypothesis, I should say. But it's just kind of it got me thinking about uh, experience is one of the greatest things about this life. To experience everything, the contrast, the good, the bad, the struggles, the successes, all of that. That's the contrast. And they give us something in return. I think we do go through all of those in order to recognize something that we're not seeing about ourselves and to deal with it. And I say deal with it, I don't mean like self help, but just to realize that that's where it's at and then be okay with it. Love yourself, be love. And I think the closer we get to that, the more it's possible. I think we do it even now. I think that even as people who are really trying, words are so inadequate. Those who have the heart to move forward, make changes in their life, allow their intuition to drive them rather than the conformity to what society expects of you or wants of you. I think they are the ones that are exploring the territories that we need to explore. It's the deep internal ones. And I think when they die, and that spirit of that entity goes back into where it came from, I hope that it takes that knowledge with them. And not with them, but I hope it takes that knowledge and disperses it throughout the universe. But I still kind of believe that every time we do that here, as a human, in this human form, I think we do the same thing. So, it's crazy, but I love experience of life. I've had so many great experiences, all across the spectrum of contrast. And they, they didn't make me a better human or a better person. They didn't make me a better person, but they helped me to understand kind of what humanity is, what it is at its core, how divine it is. And we have lost that. We have lost that. We don't see humanity as divine. We see it in black and white, and every label that we stick on people to give them to put them into a category and make them less than us so we can lift ourselves up. All of this. It's crazy. But I do think there's intelligence working in the background. And I do think that intelligence absorbs this information. Experiencing life through this body and this mind's perspective is growth for everyone. That's the only way I know to put it. So anyway, back to the basic premise is that experience may just very well be something that we have in the human form, and once that we are energetically dismissed from this body and go back into the universe, um, I don't know, it just almost gives me goosebumps to think about what that could be, because experience is pretty great. And I think all the heaven and hell and all that, we're trying to keep our experiences with us. We want to maintain those relationships. Oh, we'll see them again in heaven, or we'll we'll walk along, with Jesus and all this, but that requires a body. I don't think we're going to have that anymore. I mean, obviously the body's going to be left behind, and I don't think that we carry that outside of the human experience. And that's what it is. We're in a bubble of human experience, and we have no idea what's on the other side. None. And actually, there is no other side. It's just like it's just a catchphrase for leaving the body and going back into all things. But it's fascinating to me that experience would be. I wonder what replaces it when we become energetic. I think that's going to be really mind blowing. If we were to even have a little vision of it right now, I think it would just absolutely, we literally would blow our minds. Probably have to put in an institution. But anyway, it's good. I know I just really believe there's a reason for everything. There's a reason for each person in this body mind and their body mind. I mean, but these are shells. These aren't who we really are. And I think we can just barely see a little bit of the divinity that we are from, our energetic expression. But when we become that pure energy and that pure divine spark, wow, who knows? It's an exciting thought. Okay, babbled enough. Much love, much peace.